Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Shayna Cersei and I'm so excited to paint with you. So we are going to go into day 2 of our watercolor journal journey. So this year I am trying to start the new year with some good intentions of painting every day, but keeping it simple. And I do my journal painting often in the morning before everybody gets up in the house. This is what we did yesterday, this nice little landscape. You can find that in my list of videos, and I will make a playlist of these as we start to collect more. And today we're going to find another empty page, and we are going to do something similar to what's under here, but I'm going to actually do kind of a folk art inspired, kind of whimsical little illustration, I think, today. Keeping it simple still. But I already put these lines on here and I started to put them on and I was like, wait, I'm not recording. You know, it's early in the morning. So I put these lines on and I'm going to pull out some blue from my palette. I have phthalo blue here. I'm going to use all my blues. I have, oh, what is this one? Is this cobalt? No, this is cerulean blue. This one up here is ultramarine. So let's do a series of blues and then I'll add in a little brown for some warmth. And maybe some bleed proof white or a pen. But let's just start. I'm going to just start to make, what am I going to start with? I'm going to do ultramarine. And I definitely could have lightened up these lines. For the pencil that I put in there, but I'm not gonna worry too much about it. Again, we're painting in our journals here. We're experimenting, letting our minds go. This side of the paper is definitely doing a little something funky. Just gonna lean into it. There we go. I get my binder clip in here. Flip away. And I'm just going to do a gradient wash kind of all the way down. One more water. Like I said yesterday, this sketchbook, I think I got it in England. I can't even remember. But I'm pretty sure I got it there at one of the art stores I visited. Would have been in Manchester. Well, that can't be right because I wouldn't have been able to paint Big Ben. Anyway, I don't know what kind of sketchbook this is. It has a word on here, Tumarata, but I don't. Okay, so I'm going to do that color there, and then, yeah, let's try some cerulean. Do a slightly different color. Ooh, this cerulean is very opaque. Hopefully you guys can still see that. It's very thick color. Could have definitely used a bigger brush for this, so I'm using a size 6. You know, it's getting me through, but it would be easier to do this blend with a bigger brush. We're just going to come all the way down. And if you want to add in, look how opaque this cerulean is. It's kind of cool though. All right, so after I do this, I'm going to let them dry. Hopefully this one's pretty dry. I definitely let this space dry. And you can see here how I had a bleed because I didn't let the top part dry very much. I'm just going to push this to the side a little. Hopefully that's not too annoying for y'all. But it's really hard to paint straight up and down when I have so much sketchbook underneath. So I'm just gonna blend that out. I'm actually gonna take, have this mop brush, or this, the silver black velvet. It just absorbs a lot more and will carry a lot more water. There we go. All right. Let that continue to dry, and we're going to come back up here to the top, and I'll turn this back this way. And I am going to just start to create, so I'll draw these in with my pencil, but you don't have to do anything with a pencil. I'm going to create these kind of leaf shape trees or circle shaped trees, but everything's going to kind of connect with a tiny little stem. Some of them might be taller, like conical, cone shaped. Some of them might be rounder and smaller. I'm going to do one big round one. Whatever you feel like doing. But just painting these in, and then we're going to use different color blues throughout, just, and different values of different color blues, just to create an interesting, and this is very repetitive and can be a great warm-up in the morning when your brain's not quite ready, or even when you're just starting to paint for the day, whether that's in the afternoon or the evening for you. Just happens to be morning for me. I'm going to start with phthalo blue. And I'm actually going to start in the middle. And I haven't decided, but I think I'm going to let some of these touch and bleed into each other. I think so. And that's a great part about a sketchbook. You don't have to have a whole big plan of exactly how things are going to go until you put the paint to the paper, and then you can kind of figure it out. So I'm going to let these touch just a little bit. Let's see here. Do cerulean. The cerulean and the phthalo are very close in terms of their overall tone. Let's do oh, I forgot I have another blue in here. I have this, oh gosh, what's this color? It's gonna escape me. It's kind of a greenish blue. It's gonna come to me in a minute and I will tell you. It's like an aqua color. I'm going to use a really light version of that aqua color. And I'm leaving my pencil lines on here. I'm going to add some ink later on. That's going to enhance that. And I'm going to let these touch, and look, this one's pulling right into that one. That is fun. And let's see, these two at the bottom here. These in ultramarine. I'm going to do them a little darker. Ooh, look at that. This one's going a little crazy for me. There we go. All right, then depending on how dry this is, you can start down on the bottom. And again, you don't have to draw out your shapes first. You can just paint them if you want, or you can draw them out. I'm gonna go for it and just paint them. You can always add lines later. with a micron pen. At least that's what I use. And this can be such a great little practice, something like this, where you're using, you know, very limited variables in terms of very limited palette of color, a limited number of shapes, because you don't have to think too hard, but you do have to think. So it starts to help the brain warm up a little bit. Otherwise, if you're not really paying attention to your composition and your placement and making some really specific decisions about your shapes and your colors, it'll end up being kind of boring and blobby, and everything will kind of run together. I need to get some ultramarine in here. Let's see. Put one of these here. I'm going to do a smaller, fatter one on the side. And I'm just using my imagination for the trunks because I did not draw any of those trunks in ahead of time. All right, I'm going to put this one here and I'm going to let it touch this one. And I'm going to put one up here. And then we'll rinse this off and let's do a lighter one here. Kind of a big little grove of those, and they're all slightly different. That's great. Perfect. Let it dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and at this point you could, if you wanted to use a bleed proof white or a gouache, this would be a great time to do that if you want to add white details. So I have bleed proof white here. You could also use something called a Posca pen or like a paint pen to add white details or other colored details. That would be like an acrylic paint. I'm going to use, oh, and I have one here. I didn't think I did. I must have stole it from my son because I don't actually own Posca pens. They're his. I think I borrowed it for something else. And then I'm going to pull out a micron pen. What size is this? An 8. Let's see. Yep, it looks good. So while we're letting everything dry, I'm going to pull those out. And actually, I'm going to put trunks on in a warm brown. So then we'll end this one with kind of some doodling on top of our watercolor, which is always a lot of fun. So let me pull down and zoom out a little bit. Probably could have done that in the beginning. I have some already existing kind of brownish color here. I'm going to add some burnt sienna to it because I want this to be a really warm reddish brown because it'll really pop against that blue. Because blue and orange are complementary colors. No, this is easy watercolor journaling. We're not supposed to be learning color theory. I know. Let me see. Let me use a smaller brush. There we go. I'm just going to pick up a little. And then I'll start at the top here because these are much drier. But this brown, even though it's just brown, has such warm red tones. It's going to pop against these blues. This brush has a terrible tip on it. This is one of my student brushes. Because I'm not that organized, I don't have all of my brushes in front of me. Just grabbing what was kind of left on the table. So I'm just switching to a size, oh man, a size 2. Before I do that, I'm going to do my best to fix that. Yeah, I knew do that. This paper is not very forgiving. So it's going to pull paint off of it. But again, it's a sketchbook. I'm not going to stress. There, that works. So basically I just reactivated all the paint in this section with water and smoothed that out, picked up that color. All right, let's get in there with this guy. And that won't happen as easily as it did there. And you can see I touched it here and now it's gonna bleed in, but I'm gonna let that lie. I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm actually gonna do it on purpose a couple more times. See if I like that look. Like, it looks like the root structure below the trees. Which is kind of cool. I kind of like that. All right, I'm gonna take a quick little break and go get some coffee or tea and then let this dry and come back and finish it with my doodles. All right, we're back and I'm gonna limit myself to either the Posca pen or the Micron pen. That's all I have to use to add on some visual texture or design elements to these trees. So some of the round ones, this darker one, I'm just gonna do dots, like polka dots. And I guess I could do this one over here. And this one, let's see. This isn't a very, this isn't a small Posca pen. It's got a pretty thick tip on it, so I can't do anything too fine with it. But we'll do that for that one. And then, yeah, I'm gonna do these small ones in little polka dots as well. Because they all kind of live in the same family, like these blues and the round shape. That one is actually still a little wet, I see. All right, this one I'm gonna do some lines, and I'm being super careful because this is a pretty thick marker. They make them in different widths, the tips of them, and I would definitely recommend for something smaller like this, if you have it, a smaller one. But now let's add on our lighter ones, we can add in some black, a little ink, and this you can just kind of let your intuition take you, adding different lines, adding dots and zigzags and branching lines, and it can just be a lot of fun. This one we're going to do like long. Oh, you know, you could even add on, it doesn't have to just be pen or Posca. You could add on darker, outline that one. You could add on darker watercolor paint to some of these with a fine tip brush. Let's do that on a couple. So I have my skinny little brush. I put my watercolors aside here, but I'm gonna pick some blue. Well, of course, blue. Some of this darker blue here. And I'm gonna put that on a few of these round ones. So I just picked up a darker hue of this blue color just to add on some with a fine tipped brush. So it doesn't have to be black ink pen. I am going to go back to that and add some other black ink, but I just remembered this part. Oh, another big blob. I'm batting 1,000 this morning. There we go. Almost done. So this is definitely a great little journal, watercolor journal challenge idea that is customizable. You can pick whatever colors you want. You can change the shapes if you want and limit them in a certain way. And you have the doodle part that you can put on top that varies the designs as well. So let me see, this one we're going to do like lots of super thin lines, like a feather almost. You know, you don't even have to do both sides. I'm going to do that one side of that one, and I'm going to do this one side of this one. And for this one, I'll do something like I did up there. This one's still a little wet. There must have been just like a big drop of water on here that I missed. I'm going to make this one go boop, boop, boop. And we are just about done. So there's our little naive folk art inspired little whimsical forest. That's a lot of fun. Similar to the one on the opposite page that I had done earlier, but very different. This one has a house in it and lots of other trees, but that same style and concept. And this one's a lot more simple, a lot less pressure. So thank you all for painting with me. I'm Shayna Searcy. Don't forget to check out the description for more information on supplies and materials, and I will see you tomorrow in the next painting, unless you're ready to go and all of these are already uploaded and you're ready to go jump into the whole series. So I don't know when you're watching this, but thanks for joining me. It's always a pleasure, and happy painting, y'all. Bye.